This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. It's Thursday, March 17th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From the New York Times, Russia-Ukraine War Summary. Russia is on the verge of defaulting on its debt for the first time since the Bolshevik Revolution, though it has a 30-day grace period from yesterday to figure out how to pay $117 million in interest on that debt in US dollars before things go really sideways. Ukrainian President Zelensky spoke to Congress yesterday asking for more help, and that was followed by a commitment of new monetary and arms support from the U.S. government, including a whole lot of anti-tank and anti-aircraft weaponry, body armor, and small arms like rifles and grenade launchers. The U.S. Senate, which doesn't agree on much of anything these days, agreed to condemn Russian President Putin as a war criminal with the intent of getting the International Criminal Court in The Hague and other nations to investigate allegations of war crimes committed during Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Russia has reportedly bombed a theater where hundreds of civilians, including a lot of children. They even wrote children in big letters outside the building, so it would be viewable from the air by the Russian aircraft doing the bombing. And this seems likely to add to the tally of actions Russian forces are taking that may be investigated as potential war crimes at some point. Small automated Russian drones have crashed in Croatia and possibly crossed into Polish airspace. And this is being taken as an indication Russia is testing NATO's resolve in defending said airspace. And Ukrainian forces are reportedly mounting a counteroffensive in Kyiv and other key cities, aiming to retake some Russian-claimed territory. Zelensky has been saying that there seems to be progress in the near-daily virtual talks with Russian officials, and a recent statement he made about Ukraine possibly not pursuing NATO membership might be related to that, as keeping Ukraine out of NATO has been a big sticking point for Russian negotiators. But we still don't have anything concrete beyond these statements to go on quite yet. From the Wall Street Journal, Fed raises interest rates for first time since 2018. As was previously announced, the U.S. Federal Reserve raised a key interest rate by 0.25% yesterday, while also signaling they'll be raising this rate a total of 7 times this year in order to rein in surging inflation. In general, when this interest rate increases, it cools down the economy, and that in turn tends to reduce inflation. This is the primary mechanism via which the Fed controls inflation in the US, and the idea is to knock it down to something like 2% as soon as possible without plunging the country into a recession, which is what tends to happen if you cool down a hot economy too quickly. The war in Ukraine influenced this decision, as there was some discussion of raising this rate by 0.5% instead to slow things faster and thus, hopefully, bring inflation down faster. But those in charge are keen to avoid a spiral toward recession triggered by a rate bump plus uncertainties related to a land war in Europe. So a 0.25 point now and 6 more small bumps throughout the year is what they're aiming for at the moment. And from Bloomberg, Xi spurs frantic stock buying with lifeline for China market. China's stock market has had a rough, tumultuous 12 months due to general global uncertainties, but also President Xi's rewiring of regulations and the local economy in such a way that a lot of wealthy and powerful people were toppled, and a lot of industries had to change everything about how they operated, essentially overnight. A statement by China's top financial policy body indicating that they will do what they need to do to stabilize markets, however, has sent share prices soaring. Chinese public companies have also been suffering from the rumor that China might weigh in on the invasion of Ukraine by coming to Russia's aid in some overt and significant way. But this policy announcement, paired with the newly divulged possibility that Saudi Arabia might be willing to accept China's yuan currency instead of USDs for oil, has boosted the mood in China's long flailing markets. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.